Good morning, children. Welcome to online edu classes by Brilliant Public School. Today we are here to discuss about a poetry of class 11th, Childhood, written by Marcus Nathan. In this poem, the poet is in a dilemma as to where his childhood has disappeared. He is not sure at what stage he should make the demarcation. Poet wonders about the moments where he lost the innocence and realized that the world is not what he seemed it to be. He recalls when his thoughts changed and he realized the hypocrisy of the people around him. He finally settled down to the idea that his childhood went to some forgotten place and is hidden in the face of an infant. So here is a comparison between childhood and adulthood. In childhood, person believes in innocence, while in adulthood, person believes in hypocrisy. Childhood can be seen on an infant's face, while adulthood is based on individuality. Childhood is based on lovingness, careness, and adulthood is based on rationalism. Childhood is dependent on adults, while adulthood is independent. Now we'll go with the stanza explanation. When did my childhood go? Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography and therefore could not be? Was that the day? Now how poet has portrayed this poetry in a very beautiful manner, I will explain it to you. In these lines, the poet wonders about when his childhood came to an end. He asked himself, was it the day he was no longer 11 years old? Was it the day when he realized that hell and heaven existed and yet could not be found in geography or in a map? He realized that they are imaginary places that actually do not exist in this world. Next stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? In this stanza, the poet again repeats the same question about when did his childhood go. He wonders about the day when he started seeing the world with a new perception that adults are hypocrites and are not how they seem to be. The adults who talked of love and preached of love and yet never behaved so lovingly. They are double faced in reality. Was that the day when his childhood go? Next stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine to use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone? Was that the day? In this stanza, the poet deliberates on the same question about when he lost his childhood. He asks himself about possibilities. He wonders about the day he realized that his mind was his own and could use it the way he wants. When he realized that he could produce his own thoughts, which were not bound by anyone. When he sensed his own individuality and a separate personality. Was that the day he lost his childhood? The last stanza. Where did my childhood go? It went to some forgotten place that is hidden in an infant's face. That's all I know. In this stanza, poet beautifully gives the conclusion. The poet remorses about his lost childhood. He concludes that his childhood had gone to some forgotten place, which will never come back. He cherished his innocence, which vanished now and could be only seen in a baby's face. He only has sweet memories of his childhood, which would soon fade away. He also conveyed a message that the innocence of childhood stays till the time one is an infant, and that is all he knows. Now we'll discuss about the instances which has been described in this poetry. First, rationalism. Here the poet rationalizes the lost childhood when he was 11 and when he found out the hell and heaven do not exist and are not found in geography. You can see this stanza. Was it the day I ceased to be 11? Was it the time I realized that hell and heaven could not be found in geography? Next, poet has discussed one more instance, that is individuality. In third stanza, the poet realized that he can use his own mind and can produce his own thoughts. He discovered a sense of individuality in himself. When did my childhood go? You can see the stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it when I found my mind was really mine? To use whichever way I choose, producing thoughts that were not those of other people, but my own and mine alone. Was that the day? Next instance was hypocrisy. In the second stanza, how the behavior of the adults change according to the changes of situation. So here is a stanza. When did my childhood go? Was it the time I realized that adults were not all they seemed to be? They talked of love and preached of love, but did not act so lovingly. Was that the day? Now we'll discuss about the poetic devices used in this poetry. First, a group of phrases which is repeated in the poem you have observed in the first and the last line. When did my childhood go in the first line and the last line? Was that the day? In three stanzas it has been repeated. So this poetic device is called as refrain. The poetic device is called as refrain. Next, when two opposite words are used together in a sentence in a poem, for example, hell and heaven, they are totally opposite, but it has been used in this poem in one line. So it is called as antithesis. Antithesis. Next, when the subject verb order is reversed, as you can observe in this line of the poetry, to use whichever way I choose, when the subject verb order reversed is called as inversion. The occurrence of the same letter of sounds at the beginning of closely connected words, as you can observe. These are the closely connected words which has been used in this poetry. The time, my mind, whichever way, thoughts that. Now first you can see TT, MM, WW, TT again. So these usage of consonants are called as alliteration. So the theme of this poetry, based on few points, outlines the difference between childhood and adulthood. This poetry is giving a sense of a comparison between a childhood and an adulthood. Next, childhood is a stage that follows infancy, and adulthood is a stage that follows childhood. So as we have discussed all the aspects of this poetry, thank you children. Have a great day.